Hello, my name is Quigley, aka PandemoniumHeart, here with a gameplay review for Green Blue Detectives. This is the deck I have spent the most time in set 10, and one that I believe is actually very effective. And I want to showcase this game and comment over it to give you an idea of why I believe that. This is a match I played in the Illumineer Champions League the other night up against Humza Khan of Team Luxury while I was competing for my team ETB, vying for first place in our league division, so definitely a fair bit on the line in this one. And I think the arc of this match actually is a fairly good demonstration of why Detectives is an angle for Green Blue that I have rather enjoyed, and the kinds of issues it can sort of cover for, and the strength that it can have that you might not necessarily expect. With that, let's get into it here. So Humza is playing Blue Steel in this case, which I would say is a pretty decent matchup for Green Blue. I think Green Blue does have a distinct edge in this one, but it's fairly close, fairly dynamic, and a fairly good match to play in terms of just the quality of gameplay. One that it's a matchup I really enjoy playing. We do see Humza is playing the Jasmine shift pretty quickly here, which is a little bit unusual for the meta, but I think is a quite reasonable call. I'm on the draw to start off with, but I'm starting off with a 1-drop Clarabelle, which you always like to see. She is still a mainstay in this deck. Humza is not going to get the shift line nuts, but is going to have a sale to get rolling here, and is still in fine enough position. So of course, as a Green Blue player, I'm generally still looking to get good Clarabelle value. That hasn't really changed from set to set, but that is not always easy on the draw. We're going to start off with a sale here, rather than going for a Tipo based on the line I have. I forget exactly how this match starts off with, but I don't have too much to go off of here. I had to take a moment here. I accidentally had the Basil fall off the table here. It's a webcam game, so I had to be like, all right, here's my hand, and I'm just reaching down to get that one specific card. I do get double Clarabelle here, which is a good thing to have on the draw, just because in the event that he plays something like, a Lightning Bolt or Strength for Raking Fire, he has to have two pieces of removal to stop my Clarabelle shift. So that's essentially why I went for this angle as opposed to playing a Tipo, essentially saying that I will hopefully be able to guarantee a shift line. Here we see Humza just kind of natty play the Cinderella, which is a very good line for him, of course. Cinderella is, although a card that I am not currently playing in my Green-Blue list, is, I still think, quite powerful in both decks, but I think it's much more powerful and much more mandatory in Blue Steel specifically, because they have so many better princesses than Green Blue has access to, with things like Namari, for instance, or the Jasmines is another good example, and Mulan as well if you're playing that, although I don't think he was in this one. In any case, I'm thinking through my play here. It's a pretty rough start. We're going to ink a Judy to start off with, and I believe that means we are playing our Judy. So for those who may not be familiar, Judy Hops says on play and on quest, check your top 3 cards, add a detective if you see one there. Pretty potent as far as the draw engine goes, but not necessarily super consistent, but being on play, on draw, on quest as a 3/3 body on effectively turn 3. It's got more potential than you would expect. Here I'm essentially just hoping to make my curve a little bit smoother, find some ink, give myself some options. And I believe this first one does actually whiff, which is just part of the reality of playing a card like this. It still has value, but sometimes it's not going to hit, and you have to be ready to adapt for what that means for you. Now, good thing here in this case is I have a shift Clarabelle, so I don't necessarily need to add another card to hand from that perspective. I'll still be able to hopefully draw cards regardless. And then otherwise, just a pretty decent 3/3 that can test board reasonably well. Now against Blue Steel, most of the time I'd rather be playing a Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman. That I will acknowledge in this particular matchup where Perfect Gentleman tends to have a bit more mana. It's a bit harder for Blue Steel to deal with, but didn't have that in this case. We do see a Tinkerbell come down, which is a little bit unfortunate, and a quest as well. The Tinkerbell, it's a pretty solid body. I do, of course, have the shift line, unsurprisingly. But the downside is that he's only got, I believe, something like 3 cards in hand. And my hand is actually a touch awkward. So we are going to draw, but I don't have, the problem is I don't have a You're Welcome here. Like if I could just like shift sing You're Welcome, probably take out the Jasmine or something, I'd be pretty good. I'd be pretty happy with that. But my hand is something like Clarabelle and then Under the Sea. Not really the kind of gas you're looking for here. And I'm not able to get a ton of Clarabelle value because he has successfully emptied out his hand onto play to the point where I'm not drawing much. I believe he has only 2 or 3 cards in hand at this point. And that is kind of the issue and weakness of blue-green and Clarabelle, especially on the draw. Where if your opponent can empty your hand successfully and you don't have cards to go with your shift line to necessarily force feed them cards, whether You're Welcome, Mother Knows Best, or Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman as another option, assuming that they draw from it. It can be a little bit tough for you when you can't get that Clarabelle value. And it tends to sometimes rely on what your opponent does, particularly on the draw, to get a lot of Clarabelle value. So I'm tanking for a while here because I'm not sure what to do. The issue is if I quest or tap this Clarabelle otherwise, that Tinkerbell is going to get to swing in with something potentially to kind of take it out or leave itself open to me taking out. It can swing into either the Judy or the small Clara to like ping the big Clara to take it out. I do, however, still decide saying Under the Sea. I want to get that out of my hand. I at least force him to have an out, so to speak, although at 7 ink he almost certainly does have one. But I guess essentially, I only get to draw 1 card here because you only kept 2 cards in hand, which is not what you need to be doing in Clarabelle. In this matchup, if Lucio can successfully deny you like this, it's really tough because they tend to top deck a bit better than blue-green gets due to the number of bombs as well as card draw potential. We do get to have the Vincenzo do a bunch of damage on my Clarabelle, who is now very vulnerable. Now, he is going to opt to swing into the Clarabelle and then ping the Judy, which is part of why I didn't quest with her. That and I didn't really want to draw a card anyway. He could have swung into the small Clarabelle and pinged the big Clarabelle and kept the Tink alive, but I think he valued the Judy Hopps not drawing cards, which I think is fair enough, otherwise because then Judy gets to live, and potentially you don't really want to be swinging with Vincenzo into stuff that often. In any case, my hand is pretty poor at this point. I don't have much to work with. I only have 2 cards in hand. The Donald Duck was a reasonable draw. I decided to ink at MMS, I guess in hope, because I'm at 7 ink at this point. It's a long, long way to combo. And I figure I need to, have more ink to have more flexibility. As well as we do see a BTH, unsurprisingly perhaps, and this is where he gets to regas, draw 3 cards. That's the card where when they deny our Clarabelle draw, they can sing that, and then all of a sudden we're in deep, deep trouble. So at this point, neither of us has gained a ton of lore. He's only at 2, I'm at 0. But he gets some good tempo here, gets to shoot down my duck with a bolt. Only downside of Donald Duck Flatfoot these days. Doesn't have anything else though, but that might mean he has 7 drop answers. But I don't really have a way to play around that. I guess go for the sail here. And I believe I don't have anything else at this point. I believe I have 1 Philip in hand and then some other card, which is probably going to see this next play. Where when I inked the MMS, I don't believe I had Philip in that moment. I don't recall exactly. So I ink a Philip. All right, I had 2 Philips in hand at this point, which is not exactly the most ideal. So I am going to spin this Clarabelle into this Vincenzo. It's a little bit greedy in a sense because it clearly transmits like what's obviously in my hand. But I essentially just want to make sure that if that small Clarabelle gets removed by like a bolt or a strength or another Vincenzo, that I'm not in a position where I can't pop this existing Vincenzo off the board. He is just going to tap the Vincenzo and not play anything else, interestingly. But that probably means he has an answer card or 2. He still has 2 cards in hand that have been had a little bit of filter, so there is a pretty good chance he's got a good card, and I unfortunately do not really have great options. Right, I top deck a Vision in this spot. I have a Prince Philip and a Visions here. And I'm going to go for the Visions specifically because he's not applying a ton of pressure on the board, and I am desperate for any sorts of card draw I can get, whether it be a Clarabelle or a Cutie Hops, or in this case, I'm going to pick up the Dundalk Perfect Gentleman. It's a little bit of a greedy move not just developing the Philip here, but I had to ink to play the Philip was the problem. I only had 8 ink here, I believe. Yeah, I only had 8, so I had to ink that card, and that Visions has a lot of power to it. It's not like a cheap, easy, free ink. But I'm essentially hoping this Donald Duck, it's not the easiest thing to take out in the world. It requires basically exactly Hades, and at which point that at least lets me ink to get the Philip down. But I'm hoping that through this Donald Duck, I can draw enough pieces to maybe claw back in this game. We see a Gargoyle here, a Goliath, and a Tipo come down. So not the greatest hand from Humza, but he also gets to start refilling. He inks the strength there, which luckily cannot really touch my Donald Duck. And then he starts questing. Now the Vincenzo lore is getting a little bit scary with the 3 lore per turn and starting to get draw 2. But we, of course, have the ability to play around this Goliath as well. The interaction between Donald Duck and Goliath is pretty interesting as far as giving both players some additional card draw, but also making it a bit tougher to maybe like tap with that Goliath with a Donald out, because when you have 3 cards in the hand, it doesn't ready, so you have to either take out the Donald or not accept the draw from Donald, which can give you a bit of an edge depending on how they play it. In any case, I have a Clarabelle, but I'm going to draw 2 off this Goliath anyway, so I'm just going to slam down the Philip at this point. I forget what the other card in my hand was. I think here about swinging to the Mulan, but I think better of it. I don't really think it's worth it at this point to deny the 1 lore. And I'm hoping that Dundalk can help get me pieces. I'm essentially trying to reassemble the combo after this point. I had to play the Philip there because I didn't have anything else, but I couldn't risk that Vincenzo tapping again for 3. I'm hoping here that maybe he doesn't want to tap the Goliath at risk of potentially having it not be able to ready, and just keep it more as a persistent threat. So we're just hoping to use Donald to hopefully find us enough gas to the point where we can swing the game, specifically looking for a combo piece. We do see a Namari come down. Just applied under threat. I believe that other card is a Cinderella, so he's going to get to ink and draw, just slowly getting wider and wider in a tough way for me. And we get to sing strength as well, I believe, to take out the Donald in this case. Wisely, I think, realizing that the Donald Duck is my hope in this game, and just wanting to deny me as many cards as he possibly can. It was also only 5 across, so I guess he couldn't take out the Philip in this case, because it would have had 1 health left, which I don't think you really want to be doing. Here we're going to see another interesting interaction with You're Welcome, but we'll showcase that in a moment. So we start off with a, what is the card we play here? Guess a small Clarabelle. Not really what you want to be sitting at the top, but it is what it is. And I'm going to play out another Donald, which is at least a little bit better. And then I believe I go You're Welcome on Namari. So you might think well, why don't I go You're Welcome on something like Goliath, so he can't draw. I'm looking to draw off the Goliath by drawing 2 cards with no cards in hand at the end of the turn. B, by using You're Welcome while he has to do his 2 cards in hand, that Goliath cannot ready. So it is much less of a threat. It's effectively locked down, so to speak. He has to draw up to 4, and then as a result, the only cards he has available to him are these weenies. Now, I don't quest here. I just like to swing. This may be a bit greedy, but my logic is essentially I'm looking to go for combo to try to stabilize the game. And he's at enough lore at 11 to be at least a little bit threatening, where I can't just ignore these weenies. I'd already played 1 under C as well. I did run 3 in this build, but I makes it a bit less I could come at the top to deal with the weenies. So I decided to just play it a bit safer, and I wasn't really in a great position to try to start racing without trying to control the board a bit more. We see another Namari come down, just another big threat that can't necessarily that easily be dealt with unless I find something better. But it's not removal, which we'll certainly take. And then he plays down another Goliath. I don't get to trigger the Cindy again as well. So now, even though I have one Goliath locked down at my mercy, it's not great, and he's got another one down, so it's going to be tough for him to deny, tough for me to deny the Goliath draw unless I find exactly the MMS and flip combo. At this point, he is wide enough on board that that's kind of what I have to hope to find to swing things in my favor. If I do find it, I definitely have a chance to claw back in this game, where his board is wiped. I've got tempo. He'll only have 3 cards in hand. We'd be in a pretty good position to work things at that point if I could find the combo. And I'm drawing in essence 4 cards a turn to do so. Draw for turn, draw for Donald, draw 2 for life potentially. So I have a decent amount of draws to try to get there. As a result, I'm just looking to stall this game out as much as I can. He's at 2 cards. I forget if he declined the Donald trigger to try to get this Goliath ready, but regardless of whether or not he did, I'm just going to bounce this. I believe it's the Namari I go for here, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I go for the Namari, hoping that Goliath might tap and I can try to lock it down at that point. I'm going to take out the Cindy in hopes of A, slowing down, B, stopping Cindy triggers from just letting him ink forever, and then I take out the Mulan as well. We go for Tipo. I believe I choose not to ink here. I think I'm holding on to possibly a Basil or an MMS. I think I'm holding on to an MMS at this point. Yeah, Milia's just being scary. So I'm just hoping to top deck another fill that might enable me to get combo to swing the game back. Now, he can quest up to 16 this turn, though, so the time that I can try to win is definitely running out at this point, unfortunately. We do see Mulan come down again. Guess being able to go wide is pretty strong for him, and I'm not in a great position to deal with a wide board until I find that fill-up combo. We see Namari come down again. He's also, because of those Cindy's, admittedly, he's gotten so much ink that he just has so much ability to just play these big threats and just keep saying, deal with the board. He goes for I believe, a Vincenzo, if I recall correctly. Yeah, he goes for Vincenzo on my fill up, and now I've lost that big body that can deal with things. And so at this point, it's just a matter of me trying to hopefully find an answer, a board wipe. Even an under a C wouldn't be too bad here, guys, because it deals with Vincenzo as well as the weenies. I'm going to speed up a bit at this point. It's a long turn, largely, I think, because there are so many moving pieces. He's got so much ink, and he's just trying to do things efficiently, decide whether or not to quest, or in this case, sing strength on, I believe, my Basil here. Now, he could have taken out my Donald. I think maybe he was a bit worried about, I think at this point, he's essentially trying to say, all right, that Basil can potentially threaten one of these Goliaths or do some damage, or it has singing potential, so I guess essentially denying me strength on board instead of denying me 1 extra card draw off this Donald. I'm really hoping to find the combo at this point, but I do not, and I believe I shortly thereafter scoop it up. I thought about I think I drew You're Welcome, and I decided to quest the Tipo and maybe consider You're Welcome, and I could have You're Welcomed, I guess one of these threats, probably the Vincenzo, and then that would at least have kept me alive an extra turn. But at this point, I'm I don't have the combo. He's going to quest for too much. I don't think I'll be able to stabilize fast enough to be worth it. And with time ticking down in the round as well, and potentially 2 more games to play, I decided to just call it. But that was a pretty good demonstration of some of the struggles that green and blue can have, where Humza was able to deny me any Clarabelle value early on, and I didn't have any extra card draw going, and so Clarabelle only drew 1, and at that point, through Beyond the Horizon and then a Goliath afterwards, he was able to draw enough cards to just bully me on board and take that game very handily. We did see Goody deployed there. She unfortunately only did not hit a card, and was subsequently taken out by the Tinkerbell. Oh no, it was in any case, didn't last long, wasn't able to quest due to Tinkerbell, and I was essentially checked in that way. We are on the play in this next game, so that gives us much more easier time to extract Clarabelle value. Now, one thing I'm not running in this build is Cindy, and that is largely to make room for both Judy Hopps as a main centerpiece of this particular build deck, but also for Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman, who is still, despite some more upgrades to the deck in set 10, still found it to be somewhat necessary because it can help you draw into your Philip combo a lot more smoothly, and he's really good in this specific matchup because Blue Steel doesn't really have great ways of dealing with a 2-5 very cleanly. Both only reaches 4, they didn't usually go too wide for strength early on. So that Donald Duck ended up being something that I didn't want to take out of my deck to try to fit a Cindy in. So that's why Cindy's not here. We start off with a Clarabelle versus a Jasmine once again. We're going to Tipo, go for another Tipo, and then ink down a bit. We're looking pretty smooth here. I'm not going to risk tapping a Clarabelle in case a shift comes down. We do indeed see a shift into a quest. I'm not too unhappy about this. It's not the fastest thing, and my hope is that maybe if he finds enough cards, it'll be advantageous till he gets to my Clarabelle. I'm going to play the Donald Duck, which is exactly what you want to be playing turn 3 against Blue Steel. Exactly. The Donald Duck does a lot of work and can't easily be taken out, like I said. I am at this point hoping that Blue Steel Jasmine does not shoot my Clarabelle, although I can live either way. But it is just a quest here. Does find a Tipo, which is a little bit unfortunate because it lets him start just turbo ramping a bit. I'm going to ink Sinamari, play out a Tipo. That Tipo is going to ink something down. But because he's on the draw and hasn't played too many cards, he does still have a fair few cards left. We're going to draw twice off the Donald, and he's also going to accept the trigger, which is generally correct overall. There's ones where I don't have Clarabelle, and it's still kind of equivalent either way. Ink of Basil here, we are going to shift and take out that Jasmine. It makes Clarabelle a little bit more easy to take down, but he's not on 7 ink yet, I believe. He's only at 5, which is a massive breakpoint. And I'm just going to quest out here. I'm looking to make this game a lot faster than the last one and just start questing aggressively because I need to try to win this game fast so that I'll have time in game 3. And as well, at 6 ink, he doesn't have a lot of ability to surrender my board or my Donald Duck. It could get bolted. I guess that was kind of the downside where now the if he had swung the Tipo and bolted, he couldn't take out my Donald that way. But it was a risk I was willing to take for the 2 lore in this case because it's so important for me to try to finish this game fast. Now he does have a Tink developed, but I believe I have a pretty good line here. I get to go Sail, ink into Donald Duck flat-footed, just ramming myself extremely quickly towards a large ink count and able to get some more value out of Clarabelle. I have 3 cards in hand to, I believe, his 5 at this point. Thanks to, no, only 1. I only get to get 1 card of Clarabelle, but that's still fine. She's still drawing me cards along with this Donald, and she should probably get taken down by whatever 7-drop comes down instead of the Donald. So I'll be able to draw a couple more cards after that while having all the ink in the world to try to swing the board in my favor. I can't quest due to the Tinkerbell in this case, but that's alright. We see Namari come down instead. But I have, in essence, been able to high roll in this particular game. He's just going to quest out here, which is fair enough. Tries to get my Clarabelle exposed, and if I trade into the Tinkerbell, I'm going to obviously lose my Clarabelle. I forget exactly what I have. I think I have combo at this point, and I think about, should I, maybe hold off on the combo of Phil plus MMS, wait for him to commit more to board, or do I just go for it? And I believe I do decide to just fire it off here. MMS, Philip, it's a huge tempo swing unlocked because I had so much ramp on the previous turn. And now I've got 4 big bodies on board. Booster can effectively only deal with 1. I even get an extra card draw off Clarabelle because I got to play 2 cards out of hand. And I'm all of a sudden very quickly going towards victory. I'm going to lose my Clarabelle here, but that's perfectly fine. As long as I can find good answers to his board, he shouldn't be able to easily catch up. He doesn't have a board wipe combo like Green Blue does as it goes. The curve here has been pretty, much perfect in this case. I'm going to go for a Basil here, I guess for tempo. I could potentially, lose something as a result, but there's no, clean Vincenzo's, and I'm just looking to quest out and very quickly win. And we also get to play a small Clarabelle, I guess, to empty out my hand a bit more and apply even more lower pressure. So at this point, there's not a lot he can do. Even if he had a Hades, for instance, it would only take out one thing, and that is just going to be the scoop. So that was a very good demonstration of what Green Blue does when it high rolls on the play. I didn't even have like a "You're welcome" line there, but just the Donald Duck was enough, getting more cards into that Clarabelle, into that Sail, Donald Duck Flatfoot. Get a high roll line like that on the play, you'll tend to win. And this is part of why I'm not playing Cinderella. Now you might ask, like, why is that relevant in that particular game? I think that game is a fairly good demonstration of the power of the blue-green high rolls. And I don't think you necessarily need a card like Cinderella high rolling to succeed with blue-green on the play, because it's already so strong on the play. A lot of the power of Cinderella as a card in blue-green comes from that ridiculous high roll line of turn 3 Cindy into turn 4, play a small 1-drop Clarabelle into a shift Clarabelle, Cindy sings "You're welcome," you're on the play, and sometimes even on the draw, and you guys get to win on the spot that way, pretty much. But it's not that much stronger than a line you guys saw right there, Donald Duck Flatfoot into, or Perfect Gentleman into Clarabelle, was pretty much enough for me to get pretty far ahead. Even if I hadn't had the exact Sail Donald play, I guess following up with Donald and then maybe inked an extra turn, I would have been pretty okay from that position to eventually get to combo range. Like, I was in like the deck still runs so smooth on the play regardless of how you build it, as long as you find good opportunities to Clarabelle. Donald Duck 5 gets you to 7 at the same instance that Cindy does. And the deck still tends to steamroll on the play. Now, Cindy does have some merit on the draw, where she can make shifting a Clarabelle down easier, although she's obviously herself more vulnerable as a singer on the draw versus on the play, where she may not live to sing "You're welcome," but still gives you some, decent lines. You can go into Gansavara as well to maybe combat aggro. But I wanted to just make that point that, you can have some ridiculously strong curves, as we saw in that game, even without Cinderella. And so instead of using the slot on that, I am choosing in this particular build of the deck to try to address some of the weaknesses of blue-green. Those being A, living without your big Clarabelle when you don't really get her down or don't find her, or B, the opponent emptying out their hand efficiently to the point, especially on the draw, where you can't draw enough cards off Clarabelle and you lose as a result. Those are the situations that the deck has struggled with, and where I think Detectives offers another route, and we're going to see that in this game. So he's off the bat with a Mulan, not throwing the shift line in this case with the Jasmine, fortunately, and throwing down a Hades and Inkwell. We like to see that, relatively speaking. We are going to play another 1-drop Clarabelle once again. She was very kind to us in this game, in this match rather. But I am also playing Basil 1-drop. We haven't actually seen that yet, funny enough. But I do have like a decent amount of 1-drops in this particular build of the deck. We are answered by, I guess, a simple enough Sail, which we're pretty okay with. And then we're going to slam down a Tipo and put something else in Inkwell, and we're doing pretty good. I don't believe I have Clarabelle Shift at this point. We again see another Jasmine Shift come down, and this time we are going to see a quest on the Mulan. The Jasmine Shift, of course, puts a pretty good threat on my Clarabelle, and here my play is for the Judy Hops, and I am looking for cards. And I find a Basil 7-drop after just inking one, which we're pretty happy about. That's pretty good value from our perspective. I guess the Judy Hops is in a good position to hopefully be effective. And we're happy that she hit that first card. It makes our curve potentially a lot more smoother and gives us another option. I'm holding on to a Sail at this point to have the option to go like Sail, something else, and then be able to play a 7-drop on turn 5, which is usually what you want to do. You want to ramp twice before turn 7 to get to that point faster. Now, this is an interesting choice that we're about to see from Humza here. So we're lucky that he doesn't have another like 4-drop to play. or another 5 drop to play in this case. He's just going to hard cast the Bolt, find a Vincenzo off of the Jasmine after missing the first. No, that is his first trigger, rather. I forget. Sometimes I forget she doesn't go on play. Now, you might ask, well, why did he shoot the Clarabelle instead of the Bunny? And from my perspective, having not had a shift line, I was at first like, oh, that's so good for me. But it makes sense, because the issue is if he quests with the Cindy, and I do have the shift line, Clarabelle gets to shift in and swing and basically take it out for more or less free. This lets the Jasmine live for a bit longer, because the Cutie Hops is not going to threaten it. However, my Cutie Hops is now not being threatened, so I'm just going to go ahead and quest and dig for another card, and I am fortunate enough to find a Donald Duck to immediately play and follow up. That's one of the nicest feelings you get whenever you hit the Donald off the Cutie, to just immediately follow up the Cutie on curve perfectly, getting you up to 7 ink. Now, I did have a sale there, so as long as the Cutie had found, hopefully, either another copy of herself or Donald Duck, I would have had a smooth enough curve, as long as it was somewhere in those top 7 cards in my deck or so. Well, top 6, but then I got to draw for turn, of course. But Cutie is doing some work here. She gets 2 draws, and all of a sudden, I am flush with resources. Just off this Cutie, drawing me 2 cards and being on the draw. And now, we're in a game state where we can start trying to play for the value grind game in a more conventional way, as opposed to trying to get Clarabelle draw going, where I have to fill up his hand, and if he empties out the hand, I get nothing off Clarabelle, or kind of work with the Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman, which is a very good card and is good in this matchup, but it is equivalent, where we're both drawing cards, so we'll both have enough gas, and I just hope that I draw good combos that he can't deal with the board wipe combo. But now I'm in a game state with this Cutie Hops, where I can start trying to just run him out of resources and keep getting, hopefully enough card draw to stop him. He does miss for his second trigger, so the Jasmine in this case hit 1, miss 1, which is, what you might, well, I shouldn't say that. Usually it's like a 2 out of 3 hit rate. We're both playing 8. He's playing 18 hours. I'm playing 18 detectives in this particular version of the deck. I did get Goliath down, but we already saw last turn I had picked up the Basil 7 drop. So this Goliath isn't going to do anything. I'm just going to bounce it right back to hand and deal with it that way. I'm not going to risk keeping this Jasmine around, even though it makes my Bunny is a bit vulnerable to a Tink or something. But I'm just going to take it out. I don't want him to continue drawing cards. I'm hoping to essentially lock him I'm essentially hoping to grind him out, and having a card that draws a card each turn isn't how I want to do that. Now, he's in a tougher spot where playing the Goliath out runs the risk of, he only has 2 cards in hand, but discards one of them, at least with not a lot of options. So he's going to play the Vincenzo. He's going to use it to take out the Donald Duck. Actually, we did say the Vincenzo cut down earlier, which is an interesting choice. This one I think is a bit more debatable as far as the Donald Duck or the Bunny. I'm pretty sure in this case it's because, if he plays a Tink on a future turn, that's going to get the Bunny regardless, so he's just trying to be efficient that way. I think for... And I think from his perspective, the odds that Cutie hits 3 times in a row are pretty unlikely, so it doesn't really matter if the Cutie lives a little bit longer. We are going to go for another 7-drop play. I believe here we've got it's a Basil 6-drop, which I'm going to ink to discard his hand. He has 2 cards left in hand at this point, so I'm going to get to double discard him down with the Basil 6-drop quest. Basil 6-drop, and then questing with the Basil 7-drop. And we ripped there, I believe it was a Mufasa, and I think it was a Horseman. I forget what the second card was. Mufasa was his Spice for the evening. But the Detective's ability to do exactly that play is pretty strong, obviously, and is very good into Blue Steel in particular, where you just, they tend to hold 2, maybe 3 cards in hand, and you're very capable of, if a Basil 7/6 gets discarding 2 of them in combination with Basil 6. It's pretty potent. I'm going to go ahead and quest this Cutie. It's maybe vulnerable to the Vincenzo, but I know he might have removal that comes up the top. Don't want to risk that. And I do find another Basil 6 drop anyway. So I will say this hit wasn't particularly important for the game state. But it's kind of just salt on the wound. But Cutie gets just rolling really well in this game, as she can sometimes do. I really only needed 2 out of those 3 triggers, I think, to do well in this game and have one of those first 2 triggers be Donald Duck or another copy of Cutie Hops. Each would have worked with my hand state. But I'm not going to say no to more resources. But this is power of detectives. I have not resolved Clarabelle this game. I haven't gotten Donald Duck rolling in this game, but I've just drawn, guess 2 cards on the draw is enough where I can grind down blue steel or other decks often enough. We are going to go for another Basil. We had loaded up, bounce the Namari back to hand, and then instantly discard it for another Basil. Just go for, I believe, I'm going to quest with the Judy first, see what I get. And I believe this one actually whiffs, so we do miss, we miss 1, that's 3 out of 4. That's kind of more closer to the what you would expect. And I think I decided to just go for the questing here, rather than kind of swing into this Vincenzo. I'm way ahead on the board. Vincenzo doesn't trade too well. Doesn't get to take out my Judy off the top deck. A top deck Tink, which does do quite a bit on this board, so honestly. Thank you for me to lose 2 bodies, which kind of sucks. But, I'm still ahead, and he still has no cards in hand, so I'm still in pretty good shape. I have to navigate this carefully. I believe I have a Philip in board, so I'm just going to swing 1 into the Vincenzo, and then take it out with a Philip, and then just quest out. This Tinkerbell can take out 2 bodies here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'm essentially just saying, I'm ahead enough on board that I just want to start questing rapidly. I have 2 cards in hand still. You're top decking. I'll be fine regardless. I just need to close out this game ASAP. Now he's going to try to keep his Tinkerbell alive by swinging into the 4 attack Basil, and also bolt down my my Philip. But I've got enough resources here. I play a 6-drop, and I play a 4-drop, and it gets quest up to 17, and say, there's no realistic way for you to clear up this board. You can maybe take out, 2 bodies, but then I still win. You need something else pretty good, and there really isn't anything he can do from this position with only 1 card left in hand drawn off the top. He gets a clean trade, but it doesn't really matter. He just bolts down another one. I still got 2 bodies, and I win the game and the match as well to boost up ETB into solo first place in the ICL. So I think we had a pretty good demonstration of what detectives can do, where I was able to draw a couple of cards off Judy, got a little bit lucky in that particular third match, but that got me rolling for enough resources where on the draw I was just able to grind down my opponent and achieve victory that way rather than relying on a Clarabelle kind of action. And I like that about detectives a lot, where you have another way you can get resources, another way you can attack the game, and a way that you can win in low resource game states. One of the difficulties of green-blue is it usually wants to play a high resource games, where both players have a bunch of cards in their hand, because I've welcomed you, or I've gotten cards off Donald, and then I'm getting a bunch of cards, and the difference is that I have a board wipe and you don't. So I'm going to eventually combo you down and win the game that way, or I'll play Bend to My Will to equalize that way. And get against this. The detective packet, and where the green-blue deck can struggle, is when their opponent empties out their hand efficiently. We both only have 2 cards in hand, and I'm working with some awkward combo pieces where you have more independently strong cards, and then you just essentially are able to outplay and beat me that way. The detective package gives you more options to play in those kinds of game states, where even though he only had 2 cards in hand, hey, I've got detectives that can discard those cards from hand and swing them in my favor. I've got a Judy potentially drawing me a card, 2 card, sometimes even 3 cards, giving me more resources than you have, and I'm not feeding you any extra resources. You got to get the resources yourself in this game. I'm just going to play, the detectives and use that to get me fuel instead of giving you any extra cards that can potentially let you beat me. It lets green-blue have another mode of play and attack, and I have found that really valuable and surprisingly effective. And that is why green-blue detectives, I believe, does have some pretty good merit in this format. That is about it for this video. But if you liked what you saw here, my Metafy guide is up for blue-green detectives, going over the deck, as well as other green-blue builds as well, of course. I recognize that you can build successfully around Cinderella. That's perfectly fine. and there are definitely good builds in that degree as well. But this guide has pretty much everything you should need to know about blue-green this set and all the different ways you can build it, breaks down on all the matchups, and I'll be updating it on the regular throughout set 10. You can find that in the description below. Thank you so much to my sponsors, Enter the Battlefield, of course, my team, as well as our sleeve sponsor, Endgame TCG, and our mat sponsor, Twin Moon Studios. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And once again, if you liked this deck, check out my Metafy. Take care and see you in the next one.